What is up, everybody? Welcome to Perspective Gaming. I'm your host, Flame078, logging in from the real world to give you perspective. Or more specifically, getting perspective. This video series tackles something that's been on my mind. I spell out my takes, then afterwards we have a discussion to help us better understand ourselves. Today's topic, gaming addiction is real, but gaming disorder is a myth. Let's get to it. So last week there was a big shakeup in the medical world and in the gaming world, and this is because a new draft of the handbook that outlines diseases and disorders added gaming disorder to its entry. Now this is problematic for a variety of different reasons, but most of all, I think it's misleading, it is dumb, and it defeats the purpose of real issues. What do I mean by this? Well, this is clearly an effort by a small group of people who've been trying to villainize gaming since the dawn of time. We know this story very well. Gaming causes violent behavior. Gaming causes mass shooting. Gaming this, gaming that. Mainstream media has always tried to pinpoint something on gaming, and it has never worked because it's just not true. This is no different. Let's explain why this is a huge problem. First of all, classifying gaming disorder as a thing is a huge disservice to actual real mental health issues. PTSD, autism, depression, these are real things that if you put in gaming disorder on that same level, it discredits the whole thing, and it's going to make it even harder for people with real mental health issues to be taken seriously, because now this is added into the mix, and this is something that not to be taken seriously. And I think this is happening because there's a clearly a skewing of a core concept that mental health issues have, and that is impaired control.
Playing on the computer all day and virtually ignoring his entire family.
Let's break this down. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is essentially when a person has a trauma or event in their life, then afterwards, environmental or behavioral actions trigger a panic stress mode in them that reminds them of that original trauma or event. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, a disorder that in extreme cases forces individuals to act a certain way before they can continue normal pattern behavior. For example, knocking on door 3 times. Depression, a disorder that affects the mood of an individual to make them lose interest in daily activities or hobbies that the individual is known to do. Now let's actually look at gaming disorder, a disorder that is a pattern of gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, characterized by impaired control over gaming. Now, with all this, the definitions of all the things that I just talked about do have one thing in common. Impaired control is part of the diagnosis. But here's the problem. Impaired control cannot be just the main source. It has to have context. And the context is that behavior is determined by 2 different factors. What we're talking about with PTSD, OCD, and depression is that behavior is triggered by something that's not in control of the individual. And this is something that can happen in midlife or you're born with it. But the key thing is you are not in control no matter when it starts happening to you. Gaming, video games, playing games is not something you are born with. You are not born with liking video games. That is something you find. That is a hobby. That is an action. That is a behavior you like to do by choice. So unlike the real mental health issues, gaming disorder is wrong because it is not true. You're not born with this disorder. This just doesn't happen halfway through your life because gaming is not something you are born with. You do not choose to be depressed. You do not choose to have PTS episodes. You do not choose to have a compulsion where you need to knock 3 times or something else. Those are not choices. That's why those are disorders. That's why those are mental health diagnosis. Look, take the action killing someone. That is inherently a thing, right? But based on context, it is very different. Killing someone on the street just because is murder. Killing a robber who broke into your house and is attacking your family is self-defense. Same action, different reasoning, different justifications, different diagnosis, quote unquote. It's an extreme example, but this thing gets me really annoyed, so I'm kind of amped up about it. So the issue I'm having with this, and the reason why this is so bad and we need to fight this, is because it is different. We are not talking about a disorder. We are talking about addiction. That is what is real. Addiction is real.
I'm trying to deal with the game and the relationship. The game's kind of winning though.
Addiction is when you have impaired control over an activity you choose to do. Sex addiction, drug addiction, eating addiction. These are real things because addiction is real. Because it's also on the same lines of impaired control, but they happen because of an individual's choices and actions, not something they cannot control. An addiction to the highest level is harmful, is everything these guys are saying. It can stop family relationships, it can hurt careers, it can hurt school performance. These are real consequences, but not from gaming disorder, from gaming addiction, or in general, just addiction. You can be addicted, like I said, to anything. Gaming is not at fault here. The gaming medium is not the villain. What we need to do is be vocal with our health professionals, with our parents, with ourselves. Health professionals need to be aware of addiction signs when it comes to gaming, possibly. And it's not a disorder. Once again, I have to keep saying this. As a parent, you need to be able to tell the difference between your kid just playing games because he's stressed out or just having a good time in his game versus being addicted. There's a difference. There are real life consequences to this issue. Gamers also, we can do our part in being self-aware of when we're addicted because it has clear signs. You stop doing what you need to do. You just focus on like one thing, your tunnel vision, you don't eat. These are real things. So it irks me to no end that this keeps happening and it's just annoying. It's not real. Gaming disorder is not real. Gaming addiction is, and this is what I want to get out of this video because I want to spread that message. We need to be able to understand the science of addiction and help that because that is truly harmful. We don't need a book to tell us that that's wrong. And we don't need to be classified as a disorder because it's just not true. And that is it, guys. Thank you for tuning in on this installment of Getting Perspective. As always, I want to build perspective, and that only starts with a conversation. What do you guys think about gaming addiction as a real thing? What do we do about combating addictive behavior? Leave all this and more in the comment section down below. As always, if you like this video, please hit that like button and share with your friends. If you want to get more of this kind of thing, hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the notification bell to know when my next video drops. For video suggestions and one-on-one interactions with me, Twitter is the best for that. So please make sure to go to my handle and follow me there as well. I do polls and talk about my release schedule. This is Perspective Gaming. I'm your host, Flame078, logging off for now, and until next time, adios.